Yat and welcome you guys to Site 200, Indigenous Resilience, in Decolonization and Resilience in Indigenous Communities. My name is Christine Ami. I'm going to be your instructor for the next 5 weeks. So I wanted to go ahead and welcome you guys. I am filming today in the Silversmith building over at the college in Tsaili. I forgot my office keys, so this is what you guys get today. For those of you guys who don't know, I run the Navajo Cultural Arts Certificate Program as well as the BFA programs here at the college in Navajo weaving and Navajo silversmithing. So that's kind of what I was doing today, is taking care of some work over there. But I wanted to also get our introduction video and some introductory lessons filmed today so that you guys can go ahead and get started on class at your own pace, provided that you make sure that you meet all deadlines. So I don't mind you guys going through the class and getting it done as at your own pace, as long as it doesn't go past the deadlines that are established in the syllabus. So with that, I wanted to spend today, at least this particular lesson, going over with you guys some of the, well, actually the entire syllabus for this class. For those of you guys who haven't taken a look at the syllabus, I'm actually going to do a shared screen with you guys right now. And so that way we can go through the syllabus together. So let's go ahead and share this. What you're seeing right now is the weeks that we have. We have 5 weeks, and so in each week, if you guys open up your week, you'll see all of the contents that will be needed to be either read or completed in some fashion in those areas. So that's one of the things. I'll be uploading this video right here, so don't stress out that there's not there right yet. So if we go to the syllabus, I have 2 formats of the syllabus for you guys to take a look at. The first one is going to be the official syllabus, which I'm going to open up in just 1 second. The other one is kind of just like a, if you need to jump on real quick to see what's due, what do you need to take a look at, instead of having to download the document, it's right there. And these are also, once I start posting them, it also means that the lessons are already included in that folder for you guys to go ahead and complete. So as I go ahead and start adding more and more lessons, that means that's how much I've recorded and how quickly I've uploaded those assignments into those areas. There are 25 lessons. 5 of them are actually extra credit assignments. So we'll go ahead and discuss that now. So let me go ahead and open this up. We are going to take a look at our syllabus. Let's see. Okay, guys. All right, so this is our summer session 2020. I wanted to just quickly go over our course description. It's an interdisciplinary analysis of colonization, decolonization, and Indigenous self-determination with specific attention paid to the realities of Navajo people. So we're going to be looking at Indigenous communities globally, nationally, but we're always going to try to contextualize it back to Navajo peoples, and I'll talk about why in just a second. Our goal is not only to explore what the myths and realities of decolonization are, but also to strive to encourage students to engage with self-determining practices in order to reassess, reprioritize, and reconcile with psychological impacts of colonial trauma. This means when we start taking a look at this, and one of my prompts for you guys for the first your first assignment is, what do you understand as decolonization? And either most people A, don't know what decolonization is, or B, they misunderstand it as a propaganda device. And so that's one of the things that we'll be taking a look at. From my experience, most people in Indigenous communities and in urban settings as well, misappropriate what decolonization means. They look at it on a very superficial level. And as we're going to talk about in this class, when we actually engage with decolonization, the component, the whole of decolonization, we're actually engaging in warfare. And I'm not just talking about what people refer to as academic warfare, meaning that you're fighting the good battle from within inside academia. I'm talking about you are prepared mentally, socially, physically, economically, to go to war, to liberate yourself from colonizing entity. So this would mean for Navajo people that we are ready to break free from the United States, break our treaty, take our land back. And in order to do that, we're going to need to prepare ourselves in various fashions. And so those are the things that we're going to go over in this class. So when people use decolonization as rhetoric, meaning that they just use it for words, for signs, they truly need to go back and reflect upon, all right, what does this word mean, and what am I willing to give up? Because when we engage in that last stage of decolonization, you're not only looking at your own life in terms of living and dying, but you're looking at what you're fighting for, as you are willing to give up your life and your children's life and your family's life for the betterment of the community and who you stand as an Indigenous community. So those are the real things that we're going to start to get into throughout the class. I wanted to go through also with you guys our text. As I said in my announcement for you guys, congratulations, you do not need to buy any text for this class. I will be providing everything that you need for this class online, so you'll be able to access it through Blackboard. So rest assured that you'll be able to do that without any problems. Here's a full text, a historical trauma. We're going to be going through 2 chapters of this. I'm sure that you guys will be interested in many of the other chapters. There's 4 chapters total, but for the length of this class, and to not overload you guys with a tremendous amount of workload, that's what we're going to be taking a look at. Let's jump back up real quickly in terms of the course number and when we'll be meeting. In a normal, typical summer session class, we typically meet for a couple hours 4 times a week. And that's how this class is going to function. So when we take a look and we jump down at our schedule, just to kind of give you a heads up, we're going to be meeting, you should be taking at least 2 hours every day to jump onto the internet, check out my face on this video, and listen to what I have to say, and then completing the activities. So just to kind of give you guys a heads up on that. Participation is required, especially since it's an online class. The more that you participate, guys, the more that you'll be able to take from the class. So I want you guys to make sure that you are responsible in terms of your own choices. I can't force you guys to participate. I can't force you guys to log on. I can't force you guys to find that internet access. That's on you, but you need to make sure that you are prepared to comply with those requirements that are needed in the class. And that includes internet access. I want to go over that really quickly. By signing up for this online class, yes, I know for many of you guys, you're taking it only because it is a requirement for your degree checklist. Trust me, you will not regret it. But I also want to let you guys know that when you sign up for this class, you are also accepting the responsibility that you will need internet, and that you will need to have access to internet, not just to get my videos, but to also submit your assignments. Not having an internet access for this online class is not a valid excuse for missing a deadline. So I want to make that really clear right now, is that your participation and your submission of your assignments are due, and not having internet access is not a valid excuse, so you will receive a 0. I don't accept late assignments, so that means that you can submit it, and I can give you feedback, but ultimately you'll receive a 0 for that assignment if your rationale is because you didn't have access to the internet. With that said, if you guys haven't checked it out already, if you can't see, there's my dogs. I have Doberman and a little Doberman pinscher. You guys can download the app, the Diné College app. There's a Blackboard app that you can download where you're able to access that. And I'm not saying to utilize all of your data, but there are several hotspots out. And so that's one of the things that you'll be able to complete the assignments on is jumping onto there. The big thing that you'll need is going to be your discussion boards. you'll have to submit your discussion boards. And I also suggest, I'm going to actually show you guys, that you download the Turbo Scan app on your phone if you guys have a smartphone, because you can actually take the photos and turn them into PDF files, so you can upload your assignments. You'll have 4 assignments, and we'll go over them in just one second. Mutual respect. This class, man, it talks about some pretty heavy topics, and everything from people's understanding of their ontological origins, meaning what do you believe is going to happen in the next world, and after death, to your religious affiliations, to your thoughts on language loss, and going up to the concepts of race. We're going to have a section on race. I think it's very relevant during this time period to discuss race. It's something that we normally talk about in the class anyway, but we're going to also talk about it in context to what's going on today in terms of what's with Black Lives Matter. So I need you guys to be open to hearing these very extremist perspectives, not just from the content that I'll be providing, but also from, your own classmates. Everybody has these perspectives. And so I want you guys to make sure that when you're communicating, I have no issue with not getting along in terms of ideologies. I also understand that I need to be able to take a step back and give another person an opportunity to explain their ideology to me and how they got to the perspectives that they got to. So those are the things that I want you guys to keep in mind. I don't want you to be scared to express your questions that you've had. I want this to be an open area where you can explore those types of critical thinking evaluations, because I found, especially in the most recent weeks, is that there's not a lot of space for that, especially on social media. If you post something or you're trying to find information out that's going against or possibly questioning the larger majority opinions that are out there, it automatically turns into attacks of character, attacks of rationale, attacks of even identity attacks, and we'll get into those later on in the class. And so those are the things that I want to try to avoid. And if you have those questions, ask them here. And don't be afraid that you might get a little heat, right? People are going to ask you questions back. Our purpose is try to practice these kinds of skills so that when we get out into real world scenarios and we're dealing with people in a very instantaneous scenario, we're able to critically think and provide feedback, and also to provide support when necessary. So keep that in mind. Let's see, due dates are due dates, so don't forget. It says exams here. I should have taken that out. But there are no exams, guys. So we will be responding with are going to be handbook activities and discussion posts. So keep that in mind. Office hours. I will be available via Zoom on Mondays and Wednesdays from 10 to noon. So if you guys need to get a hold of me, I'll be sending out that Zoom link every Monday and Wednesday. You can jump on. If you want to shoot me an email, that's also a nice way to do it. I'm very accessible through Facebook Messenger, so I don't have a problem. I'm not going to say I'm willing to accept everybody's friend as a friend. I'm actually trying to limit my student friends just because of, just because. But if you guys wanted to reach out to me on Facebook Messenger, I'm completely accessible that way. Please do not call me up and yell at me. If you guys have any kinds of questions or comments or concerns, let's talk it out. We could totally work things out, but I need you guys to understand that mutual respect also applies in office hours. Students with disabilities. If you have a disability, it is your responsibility to contact student services. I cannot provide any extensions for any deadlines. I cannot give extended time. I cannot make accommodations without that paperwork that's provided by student services. So if you have any questions, Levine Blackbound is going to be your contact person over there. She's fantastic, and she stays in consistent communication, streams of communication with me. So just keep that in mind, that you will need those documents in order for that to be applied to your particular learning style and learning case scenario. Academic integrity, do not plagiarize, guys. There's really no way that to plagiarize in this class. I mean, everybody, and I say that every semester and I'm always surprised, but do your own work when you're doing your responses. I want to hear your perspectives, even if they're not in line with what I just presented in my YouTube listen or in the videos that you are watching. That's okay. We're going to be learning, how do we start to critically analyze those comments. So I want it to be your voice. I want it to be, you. I don't want your response for the day to be copy and paste from Wikipedia or from a blog site or from a book. I want to hear what you have to say. So please do not plagiarize. If you do, you will, and I find it, you will be withdrawn from the class immediately. If it's past the withdrawal date, you will receive an F for the class, and I also will be notifying our dean to flag your particular student profile. So please don't do that. I don't want to have to go through that. It's a lot of work, and it's just better if we produce our own work. So YouTube lectures, like I said, I have a YouTube channel. It's already up. There's already some lessons already on there from my previous semesters. You're more than welcome to jump onto those previous lessons and to kind of listen to what the class is going to talk about. I leave those classes up on that YouTube page primarily because, my thoughts evolve from semester to semester. My thinking process, my presentations are always a little different. So I don't mind people going back and checking out other lectures, like from last semester or the previous one. But if you wanted to already get a jump start on that, and if you subscribe to Christine Ami, you'll see my name pop up, and that's where I will be in terms of my YouTube lectures. But I'll also be uploading them directly to Blackboard, so you'll be having access to them anyway. Changes to the syllabus, I'm pretty sure that there will be no changes to the syllabus. But just in case, I have this clause in here to protect me, because remember, syllabi are contracts between instructors and students. So this is me covering that end. That I do make I do claim the right to make changes to the syllabus as needed. But I'm pretty sure that we'll be solid. So how do you do well in this class? That's what people really want to know. Is that how do I get an A? How do I move on? How do I just get through the summer? So you will have to complete 4 discussion handbook activities, which will account for 40% of your final grade. Just keep that in mind, that you must upload it to Blackboard. I have to remind people that upload it to Blackboard. That means you're going to have to learn how to maneuver through Blackboard. And if you need instructions, Michelle Vicente in the IT department is our go-to Blackboard person. I use her consistently. I know students really appreciate her assistance. She's the individual you want to talk with. Do not wait until 11:30 to try to contact Michelle Vicente, because you cannot upload your handbook activity because you don't know how to do it, and then you email it to me. I cannot give feedback in the fashion that I like through that. I'm accepting assignments through Blackboard only this semester. So keep that in mind. Discussion posts. You will have 16 discussion posts. Yet, believe it or not, 16. That means every single lesson, with the exceptions of the days that you do your Decolonization handbook activities, you will be expected to post in the discussion board. I know that sounds a little bit tedious, but you want to remember that we are supposed to be meeting for 2.5 to almost 3 hours every single day for 4 days, or not every single day, but 4 days a week. So this helps to make up those course times. It also makes sure that I know that you're doing the assignments and the readings, you're watching the lessons, and that you are comprehending, right, the content that is available. So you can you are more than welcome to go ahead and complete this discussion board posting assignments. As soon as I get these, the Blackboard site up and running, that's just fine. You'll be able to do most of them, with the exception of one interview that you guys will be required to watch, and that will be taking place on that date at a set time. And so I will get to that in just a second. All right, so your discussion responses. This is actually extra credit. Normally it's a course requirement, but given the fact that we only have 5 weeks together and I'm requiring you to do a discussion posting every single day of the class, this is for extra credit. This is, you can respond up to 5 of your classmates' postings and receive 1 point that will go towards your response papers. And you will have to do it through the Blackboard interface. And so my big thing for both of these discussion posts and your responses is that you do not have fluff. And I'll be going through that when I give you out your first assignment in terms of what is fluff. But just to give you a heads up, fluff is stuff that, well, I really thought that reading was interesting, or you made some really good points on that YouTube lecture, Dr. Ami. Those are fluff sentences. You don't tell me anything. If you found that a reading was problematic, you need to pull out a quote and you need to explain why, right? You can't just tell me, you have to show me. If you think something that I said was absolutely phenomenal in terms of one of the YouTube lessons that I was giving, then that's great. You can't just say, I learned a lot, right? That's what a lot of people will say. I learned a lot, Dr. Ami. Thanks for that posting. Thumbs up. You have to be able to pull out, I really appreciated that lecture. I absolutely agreed with you on this point. And then you pull out the quote, right? And then you explain why, right? You like that. That's not fluff. That's supporting and finding critical contact with the information that's present. So if you put something like, that was a really nice reading, I'm glad that I read it, I'm looking forward to the rest of the class, right? That's fluff. So you won't get full points on that response. You probably just get 1 out of 5. And so those are the things that you want to keep in mind, is that you're avoiding fluff, that you're looking forward to the class. Why, right? You want to be able to address that component. I'm looking forward to the class because I really have no idea what decolonization is. To be quite honest, I'm not necessarily interested in it, but I am interested in learning how I can become more self-sufficient, more self-resilient. Those areas I'm really interested in learning about. So I hope that we spend a special amount of time on those particular topics. That's very concise, right? You're able to articulate yourself so that people can follow your train of thought. That is not fluff. So keep that in mind. You want to make sure that you avoid fluff. Also, these minimum word counts, don't let them get away from you. Okay, because if you don't meet the word count, you get 0 points. So just keep that in mind. So what does our course semester look like? This is what it looks like generally overall, right? Pretty intense, right? But we're going to go through it in just 1 second. So right now you are listening to YouTube lesson number 1, introduction. And then our actual assignment today will be critically listening. So I'm going to be going over later today, what does critical listening mean? How is it applicable to this class, and why should you care about it as a skill? And that's what we'll be taking a look at. Your discussion post will be up, and you will have to address both the introduction as well as the critical listening component. All right. So that's for Monday. And as you can see here, we have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Right. So there's something in week 1 that is a possible manner for you to earn points. So our first reading is going to come from, you'll be required to read before you look at that YouTube lesson, right? Read it before you listen to the YouTube lesson. Because a lot of people also try to skip the reading and jump right to the YouTube lesson. Don't do that. Just do the reading, right? This really helps to contextualize everything that I'm going to go over in this YouTube YouTube lesson. So do the reading first, and then listen to the lessons. My YouTube lessons, I'm going to try to keep them short, sweet, and to the point. So if I can keep them within 30 minutes, then that's my goal. And so that's what I want you guys to kind of keep in mind. Some of the videos will go a little bit longer, but overall, that's what I want you guys to really focus in on. So you'll have a YouTube lesson, you'll have a discussion posting that will be also due. All your discussion postings are due the day that it's announced before 11:59 p.m. So keep that in mind. If you submit afterwards, I will give you feedback, but I will not give you points. So keep that in mind. Day 2 is another reading. You have another lesson, discussion post. Week 1 is a little top heavy in terms of the input that you're putting in. It's primarily because I need to get you guys grounded in what colonization is so that we can start talking about internal colonization and decolonization. So that I want you to make sure that that this pace is intense for the first week. If you can get through the first week, I think you're really going to start enjoying the activities that we have set up for this class. So Friday is YouTube videos already posted. All you have to do is go onto the YouTube videos and discuss and listen to each one of these ones. And your discussion post will deal with each one of these videos. So I really like these ones. They have just such great speakers to address, because this area is our transition into historical trauma. What are our impact areas of colonization? What is colonization, right? And then now what, right? Now what? Do we sit and do we make ourselves feel victimized, which is what a lot of Indigenous peoples do, not on purpose, right? We just get stuck in this rut and this cultural poverty, and we're going to talk about that. And cultural poverty doesn't mean that we're poor, right? It means that we've been taught that we are to be expected, we're to have our deliverable expectations lowered. We have nothing to preserve for the future in terms of our cultural nuances and our cultural knowledge, that we are just by nature, right, less than everybody else. And so that's not where this class needs to go. That's not where our Indigenous nations need to go. We need to learn about resiliency, self-determination, and personal accountability, because that's where everything starts. So that kind of gives us that idea that, you know what, we need to take this victimization role and we got to turn it. And we have to make something positive and proactive out of it. And so that's where our class starts to go. Here's an extra credit assignment. It's a handbook activity, which I'll be posting in a little bit. And it really talks about mindfulness practices. I like this activity because it gives you a time to meditate. And so that's what that extra credit assignment is, because it's always good to go back and ground yourself. And for me, going to sings is if you, when you sit in the Hogan or even in the TP and you're listening to those songs and you're staying up all night or several nights in a row, it's, yes, you're dealing with all of these supernatural powers and these songs that you need to learn and prayers. But if you listen to the rhythm and you take in the rattle and you listen to the drum and you listen to the basket, there is so much healing in those meditative states. And so that's what that particular extra credit assignment deals with, because we're going to be talking about really heavy topics. And if you can always go back and re-ground yourself with a song, re-ground yourself with meditation, re-ground yourself with mindfulness practices, it really starts to find an outlet for your holistic being. And so that's one of the things is an extra credit setup, which I suggest that everybody gives it a try. Even if you don't submit it, that's fine. Another thing that we have here, and then we start off our section 2, which is going to be our analysis of concepts of decolonization and self-resilience. And our setup is, as always, Monday there will be a reading and a YouTube lesson. Tuesday there will be a YouTube video only. Wednesday is an activity from your handbook, and Thursday is a YouTube lesson, and Friday is extra credit. All right, that's how it's going to go every single week. So if you look at week 3, YouTube lesson, YouTube video, activity, YouTube lesson. Right? Week 4, YouTube video, YouTube video, activity, Zoom interview. This will be the only thing that you guys cannot complete ahead of time. So make sure that you're able, and I'll get you the time stamp for that as well. I'm going to be interviewing Dr. Vanessa Escovedo, who's been participating in California with the Black Lives Matter protests. And so we're going to get a lot of her perspective in terms of race and how do we as Indigenous people start to self-evaluate without co-opting the movement. That's what a lot of Indigenous peoples have been accused of, is co-opting the movement. And so we'll be talking with her about that. But this will be the only day that you'll have to tune in that date. So we'll do that. And then extra credit. And then our last week, right, is YouTube video, YouTube lesson, and our activity. So that's how our class is set up. And if you guys have any questions, you can either put them in the comments for this particular YouTube video, or you can email me, right? So shoot me an email and let us know that Dr. Ami, I was able to check out your introductory video. I have these questions, and so then I can get back to you. So I'm going to go ahead and take a break. You'll get some lunch now, and then I'm going to record your first lecture for the summer. And like I said, if you guys wanted to go ahead and get started and get some of your assignments out of the way, feel free to do that. In the meantime, if you wanted to keep up just the regular pace, don't want you to feel pressured. I do want you to feel a little bit of pressure to make sure that you get your assignments in on time. So I will talk to you guys soon.